So Leha Spoon Hunter will be speaking.
Okay.
Thank you very much. It is a great honor to be here tonight. Nananaho Nacha, Nananaho Nanae, Sesame, Nababa Tenetawa, Hanetna, Hafat Eta. Well, my name is Leah Spoonater. I am a Arapaho, Shoshone, and Lakota from the Wind River Indian Reservation in Wyoming. And like I said, it's an honor to speak here tonight. And it's an honor to be featured with two amazing women who have done great work for our community for many years. And for me, I get to represent one of the youth councils that are involved at the Ochete Chacon camp. The International Indigenous Youth Council asked me to be here as their representative tonight. And I was very honored to do that. This is one of the most positive things of this is that this is a youth-led movement.
Back up a bit from the mic.
Okay. It's just, this is a youth-led movement. And we're very thankful to be involved and to be part of history. Because this is really a unique time for our young people. You know, what drove me here, I've been here for over a month now, was seeing the young people run across the country to raise awareness of this issue. I have worked with youth for over 10 years. And I was inspired when I heard their calls for people to come here and to help them. Because this does impact our future generations. I was always taught by my father that whenever you do something, you think about the next 7 generations. You think about the generations to come. And every single night before I go to bed, I pray. And I think about them. You know, I miss my nieces. My niece Amaya, she turned 10. My youngest niece turned 2. Their birthdays were exactly, when I got here, their birthdays were, they were almost born on the same day. One was born one day later than the other. So I miss both their birthdays, but when I talk to them, when I talked to my niece Amaya, she told me, I know what you're there for, Uncle, and it's okay that you miss my birthday. You're there to protect water for my generation. When I think about things like that, I get to help read some of the letters that come into the tribe. And one letter that really touched me was by an 8-year-old from a tribal school. And they wrote on there, how come they don't care? They don't care about my future. We don't want this pipeline. How come they don't care? That to me is what's driving this movement, and that's what's making me stay here. Because I feel like our young people have done great things. They have testified before Congress. They have stood up, ran across the country. They have ran 500 miles to get here, to get to the camp. And just last week, 148 youth came from Minnesota to be here with us and to stand here Many of them had never been out of the city before. And here they were, experiencing something unique, something strong, for our tribal nations to come together as one. And to witness how powerful a movement that this has become. I get the comments back home a lot of times. Like they were saying earlier, the Arapaho and Shoshone too depend on oil and gas. And I get some comments of, why are you there? You know that's how we make our livelihood. But you need to realize, as the youth always say, you can't drink oil. You can't drink oil. And that's what we're here standing for, is the future generations that don't ever have to drink that oil. That don't ever have to see our waters polluted, our rivers polluted. Because I know that for a fact in my homeland of Wind River. A lot of our rivers have dried out, they've been diverted into farmers, into different areas that don't need, we need our water. And I just wanted to share a little bit what our young people have done. And I talked about when they ran across the country. But our youth have traveled to various reservations and spoke about this issue. Some just returned from Arizona last night. There's some in New York as we speaking to youth, or as we gather here tonight that are speaking to youth and that are telling the importance of why our camp is there. And also youth standing up on a forum with senators, youth testifying before Congress, youth being reflected at the White House Tribal Nations Conference, and being able to share their perspectives of why we want clean drinking water. This is not just an indigenous issue. This is a human rights issue. And we need to remember that. We need to remember that it's not just indigenous people that are fighting. We're fighting for clean drinking water for you as well. To the community members that came here to hear us tonight, thank you. And next time I hope we're able to do this again and we're able to share our perspectives and the reasons. And I was on a phone call with my dad last night and I told him, Standing Rock is my home now. Mainly because I want to be here for as long as it takes to ensure that our future generations will be protected, that my nieces and nephews, that my future children and grandchildren will never again have to live in an environment that is dominated by greed and corruption and people that think they know what is best. This is a time when our people are standing up and saying, no more will you dictate what is best for us. We are telling you what is best for us. We know our homelands, we know our culture, we know our language better. And that is why we are here. And we are not going to back down, and we are going to stand strong together. And I really have gotten a pledge from the young people that as long as it takes, we will be there in that winter camp to ensure this Black Snake never gets built. That is a message from the Ochete Shakona Youth Council and the International Indigenous Youth Council, that we are here as long as it takes to ensure that will never run through our homeland. I'm so thankful that you took this stand and that you welcomed me into your homeland and allowed me to be here. And this is my homeland now. Thank you.
So I'm really going to talk short. Everybody's been here a long time. I want to say good evening to everybody. And wow, isn't this amazing? What I'm seeing out of my own eyes is empowerment, strength. I am actually seeing people who are saying no more and standing up to make a change. It is not just an indigenous issue, it's a people's issue. It's about water. It's about the right to live. It's about the right to stand against corruption and injustice. And that's all it is. We have the right to justice. And so, as I go around and I see people, I am just in awe of every one of these young people. I am so thankful because we knew in our prophecies that they were coming to heal the hoop. That's why they're my heroes. Because I watch these young people and they are amazing. When they say, this event started, it was the people across the world who said no more. And I think it's spreading everywhere. It's the time. And when I talk to people, I say, can you feel it? It's coming right out of the ground. This healing from the earth, it's coming up. And we all stand together. It's not them, us, it's all the people. It's all living things. Because we have to change. And we have to change now. We have to change this mind thought. We have to stop this and start this. We have to start feeling what the earth is. We have to start living with the earth. Because we have a right to live. And one of the things that I told people at the beginning, oh my God, if they kill our water, they kill us. Who's going to come and save us? Nobody. Nobody is going to come and help. Nobody is going to repair the land. We got to stand up now. We have no other choice. We have to stand. And so like this young man said, we stand. I stand. And I will not back down. And they will not put a pipeline in my water. Head to Tulo, that's all I'm going to say.
Feasible. So what we need and what we're asking for is a national solidarity actions is to go out and focus on the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers based in D.C., because they have the authority and the power, along with the Obama administration, to stop this pipeline at any time. So we will need that from people. That is one of the asks coming out of here. On Monday, we're asking for prayer, because it's Indigenous Peoples Day coming up on Monday. And there's going to be a powwow, a mini kids powwow in the Lions Park here in Bismarck. And so we ask for people to come and bring your children and celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day with us and stand with us in prayer, because power is in prayer. Very much so. I think everybody knows that here. So Matsikidads, and I had a question. We're going to ask a couple of questions. I'm not sure. Some of the people took off, the speakers. Get back here. Where's Madonna? Where's Lisa Wilson? Where's Madonna? Oh, stand up here alone. Any of the speakers that are still here, come back up. And so, yep, come back up. The gentleman with the live stream.
Yeah. So, very early in your conversation, Lisa, you had mentioned something about radiation in the water and bone tumors. Can you elaborate on the research or?
So the question is on radiation in the water?
Well, she said something about radiation contamination.
I had talked about radiation.
Oh, maybe you had, okay.
Contamination, and if you look at the reports and the studies, Winona had talked about T-norms, naturally occurring radioactive materials that are 10,000 feet down where they're breaking shale apart and fracking. Those naturally occurring radioactive material can cause bone cancer. And unfortunately with the oil industry, a lot of times you don't see the impacts until 20, 40 years later. We're probably seeing cancers from the 80s oil boom. And that was a lot smaller than this. And there's Winona. Oh, she's going to add to that.
In the Cannonball River, we are now pulling out fish with tumors, open sores, dysfunction. So what I've had people do is just take pictures as they pull out the fish from the river. And that's happening right now. And I keep on asking people, are you eating those fish? Oh yes, our people are, because they have for thousands of years. And that really worries me. Cancer from, in the last, I would say 15 years, on Standing Rock 15 years ago, you never heard of it. I buried my cousin 2 days ago from cancer. It is everywhere. And I keep asking, why is nobody talking about it?
Yes, go ahead.
I actually had two, which I know is terrible to do, so I apologize. The first one, could you explain the relationship between the Army Corps of Engineers and this project? I don't understand, if this is a private company, how is the Army Corps of Engineers supporting the earthworks?
Sure,
That
so
was
explain
one.
the relationship between the Army Corps of Engineers and Dakota Access Pipeline.
Yeah.
So along the river and waterways, the Army Corps of Engineers, that federal land, they have the control to issue the permits about whether or not a project can go on that land on the river. And so what happened in this particular case was that they never issued the permit to bore underneath the Missouri River, but Dakota Access took it upon themselves, Energy Transfer Partners, to start this pipeline anyway, thinking, oh, we're gonna get that permit eventually. And so what happened was the tribe filed for an injunction to, a temporary injunction to stop the permit from being granted at all, and from allowing them to do any work on the coral land, which is 20 miles to the east and the west of the river. And that was September 9th when the judge came out with the final decision, finally, which was, nope, we're not gonna uphold it. And so we were all like, what the heck? We were doing a rally in Bismarck, and then literally within a half an hour, we started getting responses from the administration, so the Department of the Army, the Department of the Interior, and the Department of Justice, in a kind of an unprecedented move, overturned that decision and said, no, you will not work 20 miles to the east or west of the river. But that's why we keep doing actions and you keep seeing the militarized police and different things, is because they're still working beyond that. They're still laying the pipe, they're still welding, they're still digging, ripping up, tearing up the earth. And so when you see us going out and you see what we're up against, it's like us with our kids and our banners. and our cell phones, and then it's like a big, what are those guns? I know I'm gonna make something up. I was like AK-57, I don't know what they are. They're big, they're like guns that are big guns, and there's a sound cannon that can hurt our ears if they choose to use it. And there's riot police with full-on riot gear standing there with their batons, and we have like feathers and sage, and we're smudging them. And then we're being touted as violent people here in the North Dakota media, because it's Inforum Communications owns all of it. One monopoly on the entire state. And if you go back far enough, you can see that it was a Texas-based company that bought them out, and they own oil shares in Texas. So when you see some of these negative things coming out in the media, they're straight up lies. And we're not violent, we never have been violent. All of this started in prayer and ceremony, because we were told if we do this in prayer and if we do this in ceremony, we will win. And we are seeing that we are winning. Go ahead. I'll her and then you. Okay.
So I have a question about the riot
Okay.
that you're gonna do. Oh, you're about to talk about that? Good. Well, you said that you had support from law enforcement to open a corridor. You did?
Yeah. So y'all hung out with us for a while. We're really peaceful. I was super concerned about the MRAP and the militarization. So I've written a lot. So the Department of Justice contacted me and asked if they could help facilitate some discussion. And I said yes. So it was the feds who intervened. Because I think that people around the country are looking at this saying this doesn't look good, North Dakota. You're overreacting. The governor's overplayed his hand. But I don't want to be, none of us want to be collateral damage in some overplaying of your hand, right? And so I asked, I met with the Department of Justice, and I was been working on the route to ensure both, there's issues like your reservation has a lot of trucks on it, so I'm just trying to make sure that we have the best route. And so today I met with the sheriff of Mercer County, there's like a command of sheriffs now. And so the sheriff of Mercer County is assisting us in some other sheriffs, but not Morton. Not Morton, but the sheriff of Mercer County is a super nice guy. And so I asked them, and he actually has horses and rides. So I was like, give me a route. So we were working on a route. We're not riding on the pipeline per se, because I just don't want to spend my time with all those guys. So we ride near the pipeline. We're praying. That's how we do our route. And so tomorrow morning at Fort Rice is our first launch. And then on County Road 136, I'm just kind of telling you, so going towards St. Anthony, which is where the MRAP was. And then, we're going towards a junction in, and then up to Lark. Does this mean something to y'all? Yeah. Lark, and then cruising over towards where the sheriff grew up.
It's literally in her notes. Sheriff grew up.
61st and 47th Avenue, and then toward Altamont, Glen
Ellen.
And then heading up Hebron. So that's kind of our route. And Rubbermaid's full of water. Got some stops along there. We can give some people, and if you want to help us, but that junction in, that probably be a place for that. That we're going on that 136. But I don't need a lot of extra cars. I'm just saying that's our route basically, and I want to inform some citizens, and water's good for horses. If you got that, but I don't need a lot of extra cars, and I don't need a lot of people with their cell phones taking a picture of me while I'm riding. It's like nerve-wracking, a little bit, but there's going to be some, so we're riding to Taiga and back. We're relaying. Yeah, I just kind of, I got the Taiga in the back, but we're relaying. So just to be clear, so we're covering a lot of miles. I'm in the kind of subdued Buddhist rider section. The Oglala's are in the very fast section. So it's a relay. So there's 5 teams moving about at the same time, and we expect a lot of riders. When I've ridden, I've been like 10 or 15 riders, and that's what I'm used to. I think there'll be a lot more riders tomorrow.
Time to start.
And where are you leaving
Junction in. So
Where are you leaving from?
the camp. We're leaving to the camp.
What time?
Huh?
and going through
Indian
St.
time or
Anthony?
real time?
We leave.
Yeah, it's like leaving. Like I am launching out of my horse trailer around 7:30 to go down to camp and try to saddle my horse. I'm hoping to leave there around 9. That is rather unrealistic. I'm trying. We might get out there at 9. Or at least my team might. I don't know. And then we're riding north to Fort Rice, and then from there we're riding. But then we're gonna start splitting. Do you understand what I'm saying? So we're gonna split depending on the number of riders into 4 or 5 teams, and then we're all gonna ride at the same time on the route. So it's so we cover the route because we have a lot of miles to cover. And I'm sure either I don't know if on our Honor the Earth website or some others, but there's some places we can make sure people know water for horses is good. They like apples, carrots,
Apple season.
just some things like that be nice. But and then as if anybody's been around horses, I just have to say it's so the traffic's going to be slow. We're going to have an escort vehicle at the front and the back at least. And I'm just saying, because I want to make sure that so the horses have space. Right, so the traffic will be slow on those back roads, but I try to pick super back roads because I don't really want to be on major roads. So that would probably be pretty, and some beautiful country. I'm really looking forward to, really looking forward to the ride. So yeah, thanks for your questions. And then, like I said, Fort Rice. I think if some people head towards Fort Rice, we'll have the exact place where they might be able to go. You guys know your territory better than I do. That's why it was interesting talking to the sheriff. I was like, he's like, yeah, really said that's where I was raised, But it's funny because there's a lot of small roads, and I was given some really cryptic notes. And what you want is things to be good, and a small road you can get a horse trailer in and out of, and they won't get stuck or nothing. So anyway, so that's our start. So Fort Rice, thanks.
Thank you. All right, let's take a question here.
Yeah, besides the ask to put pressure on the Army Corps and then also to support the Indigenous Peoples Day on Monday, what are some just general ways that local folks can support the camps and can also organize in Bismarck or beyond? And could you give us maybe all of your streams of all of your streams on Facebook or social media in which we can like and share on Facebook? It's a lot, sorry.
I'm just going to say one thing to start with is I think you guys need to try to back your authority and your governor back. Because it does look like the Mississippi of the North. Yeah. And I think that time's over. So I think we need to start asking, state officials and federal officials to demilitarize themselves. And to talk about, just to start backing off, on these things. And that's going to take, people who are not just the people at the camp, but really making this, because they really have demonized people in the press in an unfair way. And also start writing more letters to the editor of these papers and start pushing for media that's accurate. I write for the Fargo Forum, and I was super disappointed. They ran a story yesterday about this, and they, used one glamour picture of me, and the picture I gave them was the picture of the MRAP. I said, that's why I asked for, what I'm saying? This is that was a choice that they made, was instead they had a picture of me on a horse in the Fargo Forum when the picture I gave them was the picture of the MRAP and the people next to it. Because I think a lot of that, because they hadn't seen that picture, and that's what people should see, what's going on. I think of better ideas.
SacredStoneCamp.org, Indigenous Environmental Network, Honor the Earth, Madonna.
I was just going to say, one of the things that I have some really amazing friends out there in the world, and so they asked me the same question, what can we do? I said, call Obama. So she calls me at 7 o'clock and said, I did my duty, I called Obama. She's been calling, she said, there are 20 people that works there, she has every one of their names, they all know she's calling, and she tells them and gives recommendations for Obama on what to do with Dakota Access. She also calls the governor every day, and she says they're very rude people. She calls the sheriff of Martin County every day, and she has her coalition of all these 60 to 70-year-old women calling every day.
Because what's happening in North Dakota should not happen anywhere. What's happening here should be something that every person should stand up and protest against. Because anytime you have a corporation, big oil, controlling the media, controlling people's thoughts and minds, you're in trouble. Stand up. Right here.
My name is Isha Oprah. I was part of the Emerging Indigenous Leaders Institute from Nevada. We spoke at the Global Indigenous Youth Caucus, and I was honored to read our statement about youth suicide and self-harm with Indigenous youth across the world. So just with the seventh generation of people, I just ask my brother here is, what can we do for our Native youth to actually back us in this? Because as in our generation now, we're pretty kind of lost in what we are as people. You know, we have, we're into, gangs, social media, things like that. We're not really connected as we were before, but it's a new generation now, so we're able to adapt. We're able to collide all these things together. So with that, how can we, as me and you, to bring these young people to this forefront? Because it seems like now, that's what we need now, is more younger people here. More people, more of our youth from all over the reservations to actually start standing up for us, because you guys, sad to say, 40 years from now, 50 you guys, you're not going to be here. We're not going to have somebody, you guys, here to lead us anymore. We're going to have us to figure it out, what we need to do as younger people. So I ask, what can we do as us to younger, I guess, adults, but we're up there, to bring our youth together?
That's a good question. That's actually what I'm going to be working on tonight, is a call to action for all Indigenous youth to come here. With the negative media that has been portrayed here, there has been concern of certain among tribes to send their youth here, because all they're getting fed is the negative media. And so it's a chance for our youth that are in the camp to really get on social media, to get on Facebook or whatever avenues, to share what is actually happening here, and to give the truth and the perspective from our perspective of why we need our Indigenous youth here. Because it is, like I said, it's a historic movement, and to emphasize that young people have played a very vital role in this movement. And the fact, just like I said with the run earlier, running across the country to raise awareness, putting a calls to action to tribes to come here, and also using that. One of the ways that we did it, there was a youth from Standing Rock who put a video together, "Where are you, Obama? You were here, you held the children, you said that you would never forget them." And so it's just putting things out there like that, getting our young people to ask our president, who has said that he has stood for Native youth, to make him aware of his promises, and that his promises won't be empty rhetoric once again, and to make sure that awareness is put out there. But to also continue for our young people at the camp to share the accurate news of what's happening here, and to invite more youth to be a part of this movement.
In addition to President Obama, I think we should all be asking Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton where they stand on the Dakota Access Pipeline as well. They absolutely have not been addressing the issue at all. And wow, what a situation we are in with those two. I mean, geez, Winona, of all the years that you picked to run, why not this year? already, you know. But shout out to Jill Stein. She was cool. She supports us. Shout out to yeah. Okay, question in the back of the room there.
Yeah, about how the media demonizes us. Donna talked about losing control of the media. He talked about the young girl, you know, putting that video out. And at some of the actions that we go to all across Indian country, it seems a little counterintuitive. The question is also a statement for our leaders, our prayer keepers. As soon as we start to pray, they say, turn off the camera. How do we expect them to film us praying when we always ask them to trick? It's counterintuitive. So it's just a suggestion. Maybe some native won't mind being filmed when they're praying. Make a comment on
that. I've had so many elders that have thanked us, and people on Facebook that have said thank you for not making it like a show. This is my personal opinion. It's we're losing a lot of sacred things already, and we don't really need to lose that too.
I don't think you're losing it. If they're not given an opportunity, you can't blame them for not being able to see us pray. That's my opinion. Stick to it.
Yeah, and there are some people that want to see, and I think if people want to see, then they should come here and stand with us at Standing Rock. Yes. I don't know if anyone else wants that. Lisa, you should.
I don't know. We usually, when we have like water blessings and things like that, they usually say the elders or the people who are blessing the water are usually asked for that request. So, and it's just our sacred way, I guess, you know, of them and honoring that. So.
I have to deal with this all the time, and what I was taught was our way is thousands of years old. Our way has many ways, but there is a way, and we have to stand by our way. And so when I was told that, I said, what does that mean? Because they're always saying stuff like that to me, and I was just like, oh wait, now I'm older, I understand. We cannot change some of the ways. We have to hold them sacred. And to cause a division between our spiritual leaders and between what is happening with media is two different issues. And I myself, now that I understand a little more, will say we have to honor that.
I agree.
And so even though we are praying all the time, mind you, we are in a church, we are praying all the time. The world should also be praying all the time. If the world prayed all the time, we'd all be better off. But we don't have to put it on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram to be people.
One more question, Myron. We can talk after.
My name is Myron Dewey with Digital Smoke Signals, and we address that issue by following digital protocol with the elders and just following that digital protocol. Every non-native that comes in, even our own people, we have to re-educate and do it in a good way and empower them to also police those around them to say this is our way. And by teaching, everyone's been doing it. They've been doing it on social media, been doing it on Instagram, every outlet, and sharing that media. And some of them will go and let someone know, sorry, you're not supposed to be filming right now. They're praying. What is 1 minute, 30 seconds? And teaching that protocol, which is digital protocol, and it's working. So I'll say thank you guys all. And then we're getting the message out through digital protocol. We're following those digital protocols. And it can be done in the second decade of the 21st century. We're still here as indigenous people, sharing those medicines, sharing those words, sharing those songs. And I agree with everything that you ladies are saying. Bijatu.
Thank you. Digital smoke signal. Woo woo. with us. Woo! The eye in the sky.
He's the internet star.
He is. He's famous. You guys should get a signature. Get your picture with that guy right there. Karen. Don't look so surprised. We just love you so much, and we want to come up here and say thank you and give you a hug. This is Karen Von Posten, everybody. And just say something to your people.
To my people, I say thank you. And I say, this is, at this time in history, I think the most important place we could possibly be. And we are in it together. And I'm grateful to be in it with you, as we are made of water and surrounded by water. And as we honor water together, my heart overflows.